back in the day before there was lights, camera, action, we say we had faces for radio. Okay. But now the lights, camera, action, we get the Mariams in the studio so that, makes us look better. But anyway, my plastic surgery is because, there's two things on the side of my face.
I was very worried when I heard you visited one, by the way.
Right. So he was fixing my face. Now, the one thing he looked at me and asked me, do you smoke? I said, why? Okay, he says, because a cigarette smoke, it delays the healing process. I'm like, you mean? Okay. So what I do, what happens is that a week before I go to see him, I smoke less. Yeah. But so he stopped asking.
Is that what he recommended?
No, he said I stopped smoking, darling.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's not in my house when I'm smoking. So this is the thing. I mentioned this because, like, from every Monday, before Wednesday comes about, I that's now the diet is correct, by the way. Yani in the Digo we eat healthy. Let me tell you.
You're trying to cheat.
Yeah. I'm trying to cheat the boss because man, the salads that were on there yesterday, you'd be impressed. And portions. Yeah. She says fistfuls.
Yes.
That to plate, I garnered it into quarters because I knew Ashley Kiboda's going to be in the studio.
Good job. Woohoo, I'm impressed.
Ashley.
Ashley's good influence.
Oh, yes.
Woohoo, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes.
Good.
So now instead of like from Sundays, we start Sunday evenings.
Love it.
We just do it now we're trying to keep it like the whole week.
Good. And do you feel better?
Yeah, I do feel better.
Good.
But you see, like now after, like that when you've gotten away with something.
Yeah.
Now see, today when you get back, now because Jana, I was about to use the word us. Yeah, Jana, I bought a big slab of to cake. So this is for after Ashley.
You have a piece. Everything in moderation. You enjoy. Yes, it's not every day. It's not the whole cake. So
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Indeed. And we're talking about Wellness Wednesday. And you know what? You need to look and feel your best. And you know what? She is here to help you get to attain that standard. I'm Nagani. It's Wellness Wednesday with Ashley. And I love today's topic. We're talking about vegetarian, vegan, or maybe not. And like I said, yesterday was the launch of the F1 season. 75 years.
Yes.
And everyone was looking forward to seeing Lewis Hamilton. Not only because he went to Ferrari, but mainly because it was in the O2 Arena in London.
Yes.
Okay. But the thing that fascinated me about Sir Lewis.
That he's
it's called who? First, what's his name?
Sir Louis.
Sir. Chief.
Sir.
He's knighted by the damn queen.
Please help
me.
Oh,
God.
I know, I'm always harassed.
So, Sir Lewis Hamilton, he made a thing and he's 40, he's going to be 40 years old. Yeah. And the rookies there, some of them are 17 years old.
Wow.
So, a few seasons ago, which is a few years ago, and he says he's changed and he made a hula baloo, noise. He says he's changed his diet because he's now vegan, and because now that he's vegan, it has changed the way he feels and even the way that he thinks. I'm like, Allah, we've got to ask Ashley. Yani dish, chakula, can change the way the synapses operate in the head.
Absolutely.
We're going to
Food
talk about
impacts
that.
Everything.
We're going to talk about that. First of all, welcome, Ash. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. Thanks for having me again. Excited to be
pleasure.
back.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Yes.
And we need to follow you because it's about time.
It's time.
You okay?
Yes, it's about time to follow It's Dot Time. Yes.
And then that's THYME.
Exactly. Yes.
So listen, we're talking about vegetarian, vegan or not. And so we really, really want to break it down because when you think vegetarian, you're like, oh no, that is tumbukiza without the meat.
Tumbukiza without the meat.
But then also there's, if you go to an Indian restaurant, they got some beautiful,
so much variety.
Yes.
Beautiful, tasty.
Yes. Vegetarian food. It's amazing.
Thank you. Because as an African man, when you think vegetarian, you're like, no bland boiled.
Absolutely.
There's nothing.
Yeah. Food never has to be boring or bland, no matter what diet you're on.
And actually, like somebody says, when you see the caves, like, the Aboriginal caves.
Yes.
Yeah, with the paintings.
Yes.
And men say that, if you look at those paintings, men were always hunting animals, which is
Yes.
meat. They never painted vegetables.
Never.
That's true, but how often did they actually get the meat? You see, so fruits and vegetables were the bulk of their diet, but some meat as well.
Now, listen, she's not a quack by night, okay? She has studied the damn thing. She's a registered dietitian, not only here, but in continental United States as well. So take what she says extremely seriously, and you will live a long and healthy life. That is me. I've told you for free. Now I've done my good deed for the day.
I love it.
Now it's over to you, Ash. Listen.
All right.
So I like the way you usually do this. First of all, let's break it down.
Yes.
What is, so we'll do it piece by piece.
Yeah.
Because the one I'm really fascinated about is the vegan diet.
Yes.
But let's start, because you told me there are very many types of vegetarian.
There is.
What is a vegetarian? Now, it might sound like a daft question.
No, there's no such thing as a dumb question.
Yes,
Absolutely not.
Because I understand, like, for example, some people can eat eggs and some people cannot.
Excellent. Yes. So now we're going to get into the types of vegetarians.
Sharp.
Okay. So there's a lacto-vegetarian.
Wow.
So they eat all the plants, but they also include dairy products. So lactose is the sugar, remember, that's in the dairy products. So think of lacto-vegetarian. They include dairy, but no eggs. Okay, so just plants and dairy and no meat. So no meat, no eggs. Then you have the ovo-vegetarian.
Wow.
And they include all the plants and eggs, but no dairy.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Then you have lacto-ovo vegetarian that include dairy and eggs.
Right.
So basically the difference is, do you include eggs?
Right.
Or do you include dairy?
Right.
Or do you include eggs and dairy with your plants?
So there's lacto-veggie. That one is a person who does what again?
Dairy. So they do all plants but dairy.
Okay.
No meat and no eggs.
Very nice. Okay, then there's the
Ovo.
which does?
They just do eggs,
Right.
no dairy,
Right.
no meat, of course.
Fantastic. And then there's lacto-ovo.
Yes, which do dairy and eggs, no meat, and all the plants.
Okay. What is the majority?
Yeah. So good question. I actually don't know the answer to that. There's such a variety, and people tend to pick what works best for them,
Right.
or based on their cultural preferences as well.
Right.
Yeah, or what they think the health benefits are and things like that. Yeah.
Now, those who say I'm a vegetarian
Yes.
because I only do white meat, are those cheaters?
Yeah, so that would not be identified as a vegetarian.
Right.
Vegetarians don't do any meat or meat products, but they do products from animals in some case, like the dairy or like the eggs, but they don't have the actual meat like the chicken or the fish. If they're eating fish, for example, that's a pescatarian.
Yes.
They eat fish. Yes, so they'll have fish and then all their plant food. Yeah, like fruits and vegetables and grains. That's what I mean by that. Yeah. So there's a lot of different terminology around this, but I think it's important if we really stick kind of within today's guidelines.
Three.
Yeah, not to confuse people,
like
because there's actually a list of 10 different types of diets related to these different things. So I think it's important to really get this message home and get people to understand the vegetarian types, and then also vegan, which is the most quote unquote extreme version of a plant-based diet. Yeah. And so they have no animal products at all. So no dairy, no eggs. They won't even have honey, because it technically comes from a bee, which is an animal.
Okay, now you've told me there's no daft question.
Correct.
So that means they don't eat biscuits, eggs, cakes.
Yeah, if they have milk in them, right? So they'll do maybe a dairy-free, or you can get vegan cakes now, by the way, in Nairobi. You can get vegan cakes, you can get eggless cakes, you can get...
Yeah, they are eggless.
Yeah.
Things,
so there's a lot of those things. So you wouldn't just eat the general everyday ones that people do, because you're mindful, because you choose to avoid, the dairy products and the egg products and the animal products. And you stick strictly to plants only, which is fruits, vegetables, and whole grains.
Okay, now...
legumes, things like that.
Oh man, I've got a series of questions. So is a vegan diet a Is this basically like Ozempic? Is it a lifestyle thing? Because it wasn't there 30 years ago, was it?
So it was actually.
It was?
I think it just wasn't something that we necessarily heard of because there's cultures and there's different types of people that have practiced these styles of eating. But again, things become more mainstream as people research or travel or things like that. So I don't believe that vegetarianism or veganism is like a nuanced kind of thing. I think people are just maybe more aware of it and maybe also being educated and realizing the power of plants and how fruits and vegetables and whole grains are really healthy. So maybe putting more of an emphasis on that. But I want to be clear, you can still include a lot of plants and whole grains and you don't have to take away the meat if you don't want to. So for example, I say I eat plant-based, but I still include meat. Here's why. Because 75% of my plate is from plants.
Yes.
You remember we divided in 4. The fruit is a plant.
I was gonna go there.
The veg is a plant. The whole grain is a plant. And then my portion of meat. You see? So you can still eat a lot of plants, but you don't have to go vegan or one of the vegetarian ways if you don't want to. You see? So it's really about understanding the differences here and what aligns more with your health goals, maybe your personal ethics, maybe your culture, things like that. And then really understanding, how do I make sure that I get all the nutrients appropriate, even though I'm avoiding a certain particular food group? How can I still remain healthy and ensure that I'm getting all those nutrients?
You know, Ashley, you're very diplomatic in your teachings. But now here's she's Mama Mariam, okay? And okay, right now maybe the kids are a bit older, okay? But there's a mother who's listening to you. And she's driving home with the young'uns in the back. And, you know, your diet is important.
Very, yes.
Okay. So, and obviously we're going to break down vegetarians. So I'm not talking about the vegetarians.
Yes.
And with this vegans, is it healthy for kids?
So I would say you can make anything healthy, but it's about being very knowledgeable on what foods have what nutrients. Because as kids are growing, we need to make sure they're getting enough healthy fats. We need to make sure they're getting enough protein. We need to make sure they're getting iron, as for adults as well, but even more important in kids. But again, both adults and kids need to eat healthy and get this nourishment. So is it possible for a child to be vegan and get all their nutrients? You're probably going to have to be on some supplements, but a child...
Sorry, finish.
But a child can be vegan if that's very important to the family, but it's extremely important that they then work with their pediatrician and a dietitian to ensure that the child is meeting all of their growth chart markers. You know, they're growing appropriately, they're not too low on iron or certain vitamins in their blood. So they would have to be tracked more closely, just because it's easier to be low or deficient in some nutrients, just because we can't get all those nutrients we need from a vegan diet, to be very honest.
And thank you. And that is critical. That is critical.
And wait, I'm sorry, I'm going to pull you back. Yeah? Is it advisable to visit your doctor before going to these diets?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. So as an adult, you know, yes, if you would want to get some lab works to see, you know, where is your iron at? Where is your B12 at? You know, some other nutritional markers to see, are you in a position to switch vegan, for example? Are you low in iron? Well, let's talk about that. We can get iron sources, but now if you're deficient, maybe we need to put you on a supplement first. So it would be advisable, but I would say more so with a dietitian, so you can understand how to make this a balanced diet to achieve all those nutritional goals, and then follow up with, you know, subsequent lab results to then see, okay, what foods do you need to focus more on to be able to get those nutrients to the level that they need to be based on your own lab results.
So you did mention iron and B12. Are those the main nutrients that vegans and vegetarians miss?
Yes. Again, depending on the type of vegetarian you are, right? But yes, for vegans, it's going to be B12, iron, vitamin D, and then omega-3s.
Wow. So actually, those are a lot, man.
Yeah. So those, and you know, then protein is a concern as well. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough protein, because honestly speaking, plant-based sources of protein are not as dense in protein as animal-based.
Sure.
So it's okay. You don't have to have animal-based protein, but you need to be mindful that I'm getting less protein content. So I need to ensure maybe I'm having 3 different protein sources at my meal, as opposed to just 1 serving of meat, if you include meat.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. And it's important to also know how many grams of protein am I getting in my lentils, in my nuts, in the tofu, in the seeds.
Bas, because thanks for bringing those up, because we're going to go into commercial break. Then when we get back, there are like 1.4 billion of them. And sorry to racially stereotype, but we're going to go to South Asia.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Want to go to India.
Yeah.
All right. Half of that population are vegetarians.
Yes.
And obviously a lot of us have not gone to India, but we have consumed Indian food.
Yes, especially in Kenya.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what is it that they have? Because, like Madam was telling me, yes, we've got to go to Healthy You. It's called Healthy You.
Yes.
Healthy You, yeah.
Yes, to get our supplements. Because now we're listening to Ashley. But not everyone can go to Healthy You and get the supplements.
Because of cost, you mean? Or?
Yeah, because of cost. So where can we get it in the dish?
Yes.
Because I'm sure the Indians don't go and get the supplements also.
Yes.
Where can we get it in the food?
And that's what I want to talk about. Yes.
Right?
When we get back. Absolutely.
When we get back. So, vegetarian, vegan, or not? Remember, there's lacto-vegan.
Not even go there.
Where is that again?
Lacto-vegan.
They
and
include,
and they include that's the eggs.
The dairy.
The dairy,
dairy,
yes.
the dairy. Then there's the ovo-vegan,
Yes.
right? Which is now it's sans eggs and sans the dairy,
That's the eggs.
right? Sans
Ovo is eggs.
Yes.
And then lacto-ovo is dairy and eggs.
Oh, no.
Yes.
You've got to repeat to remember.
Yes, it's true.
You've got to repeat to remember.
To remember.
Yes, and then
We're
write
in
it
class.
down.
Yes, and then write it down. So we'll leave those questions because, now I'm going to call people out. Mariam's friends have got this thing of asking the questions after the fact. Imagine ask now. 0719 012600 or Spice FM KE, vegetarian, vegan, or not. And then how do supplements play a part? I'm talking about the supplements, of course, that you go into the duka to buy. On your marks, get set, ask those questions. We're getting back with Ashley Kibuda next. And remember, it is at
It's dot time. THYME. Like the herb.
I like it. It's about that time. Our very own, I like saying that, resident physician. Listen, today it is, you know what? It's at
It's dot time. Yes.
So that's not going to become a thing. But you know what? I always say it's about that time.
Yeah,
and that's
there's a restaurant, I know, right?
THYME.
Yes.
Ashley's in the studio. Thanks so much for coming through. Listen, 0719-012600 or Spice FM KE. And we've been sitting here. In fact, we almost run out of time there. We're talking about vegetarian, vegan, or not. Vegetarian diets. I mean, when I talk about vegetarian diets, I remember when we were soldiers, when we were kids.
Yes.
And you know what? Back then, you know Jane Fonda?
Familiar?
Yeah. Yeah, she's an actress.
Uh-huh.
And she released videos in the late 80s.
Uh-huh.
Can't be late 80s. In the early 80s. Yeah?
Throw me a movie. Which movie, for example?
No, I wouldn't know about the movies, but this was an exercise video.
Okay, good.
And then the thing is, and then for mom had given birth to Otto. Okay. And then she wanted to get back into shape.
Yes.
And she said, so this exercise, watch Jane Fonda videos. Okay. And then also now get on a diet. And her diet was vegetarian. No.
Ooh.
Okay. Mm-hmm. In the early 80s. No.
Oh, wow.
No, it didn't work.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah,
so
it's all about what you consume,
yes.
portions, everything. Yeah.
Elephants are not small.
No. I hope that's not in context of my mother.
Vegetarians.
Which is true. And speaking of, because that is also one thing that very few people understand, Ashley. Because before the break, we said we're going to focus on South Asia, which is obviously the Indian subcontinent.
Yes.
And there are 1.4 billion human beings, and half of them basically worship the cow, which means they're on vegetarian diets.
Yes.
And before the break, we were talking about supplements.
Yes.
And the required nutrients that might not necessarily be in particular vegetarian diets. So before we go on, there are like 10 types of vegetarian diets.
There is.
But we've only, for today's purposes, we're only going to break them down to, as far as we're concerned, the main three.
Yep.
And there's the lacto-vegetarian. Mariam, the second one is?
No, please. Octo.
So there's lacto.
You see.
There's
just.
I'm trying to help.
No. Tafadhali.
I'm very bad at.
So what you do? Put your phone on record. So that you can eat. Sorry, go.
Okay. So we have lacto-vegetarians. So they eat plants and include dairy. Then we have ovo-vegetarians. They include eggs. Then we have lacto-ovo, which include dairy and eggs. And then we have the vegans, which include no dairy, no eggs, literally only plants, no animal products in any capacity.
Thank you.
Like not even honey some cases,
right?
Depending on the individual.
And to me, and I say, like, I know the only person I know that, like I said, is Lewis Hamilton. But you see, and he said, that since he got on that diet, but remember, this is a professional sports person.
Yes.
And obviously he's got a team behind him.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and you made it very clear. Let's be clear that even as far as, and I repeat, you're very diplomatic in your speak and your teachings, Ash.
Thank you.
But if you're going to put your child, because I think of children and sport.
Yes.
All right? It's games time right now. Somebody's running out there on the games pitch.
Yep.
Okay. With a child who has been eating we can't say that with Ashley. No, but but the protein diet, the meat is there.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's certain things that are lacking. I'm just trying to repeat what we said earlier on.
Yeah.
That supplements come into play.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I think there's also a part to really understand, can I get these nutrients from food first?
Nutrients, yes.
We always want to do food first, and supplements are always there to support us, but our body does best with food. So if we have a food that has those nutrients that we're looking for that still fit within your vegan or vegetarian diet, I would highly recommend those first. But again, sometimes supplements are needed in that case, so it's important to follow up with your doctor, look at your lab results and things like that, and not just blanket take supplements just because, right? So it's really important. So should we go through some of the vegetarian sources of the nutrients?
Yeah, because, Ashley, that's it. I'm talking about people who are vegetarian, by the way, and Mariam, Ashley, and I are being very clear. Now, this is vegetarian by choice.
Yes.
Not because you are birthed into this earth and then you, Allah, kumbe, this is what happens. That is a different kettle of fish altogether. See what I did there? Fish.
Yeah.
Now, but the thing is, and she mentioned elephants. Most people go on what they choose to be vegetarian because it's a lifestyle choice, and this is because you want to lose weight. But she says elephants are fat. And in fact, it baffles the mind sometimes. When you look at Indians, tell you they're vegetarian. But Brahman has got 2 pots. Bellies.
So the whole thing comes down. It still comes to moderation and proper portion. So just because something is vegetarian or vegan and labeled as such doesn't mean it's healthier, doesn't mean it's not high in sugar, doesn't mean it's not high in fat, doesn't mean it's not high in calories. And so sometimes we give them the halo effect, like this angelic effect of like, oh, these are health foods because they say vegan or vegetarian, they must be better for me. Processed foods are processed foods, right? Added sugars are added sugars, as we learned last time. So you still want to focus on a whole food diet, whether it's vegan, whether it's vegetarian, whether you're eating meat, whether you're not. It's about less processed, whole foods, moderation, proper portion, and being active. Yeah.
Okay. Now that we have demystified that myth, let's go through that list.
Okay. So the nutrients of concern, I'm just going to kind of run through vegan or vegetarian, depending again on the type of vegetarian you are, but this is in general.
Yes.
So omega-3s, those healthy fats, we can be at risk for not getting enough of those. Iron, zinc. Zinc is important for our immune system, actually, and growth and development. Vitamin D, calcium, and B12. Okay, so those are the nutrients that when somebody tells me I'm vegetarian or vegan, a little bell goes off in my head. Okay, we got to make sure you're including foods that are rich in those sources. And so the sources of omega-3s are going to be ground flaxseed. So you've heard of flax seeds? Okay.
Okay,
Yep. So ground flax seeds, those have omega-3s in them.
No. Mariam, you started and then you stopped. No.
Just continue.
No,
Okay.
no, excuse me. What about us? What is a ground flaxseed?
Yes. So flax seeds, you can find them at Carrefour, for example, in the seed aisle. They're going to be there. They're not too expensive, to be honest with you. Many people are incorporating them because they have omega-3s, even if they're not vegetarian or vegan. But you want to make sure they're ground.
Okay, so
people associate them with chia seeds.
Okay.
Ground flaxseed and chia seeds, they kind of go hand in hand. That's how people will talk about them.
Okay, so Ashley, forgive me, you're one of my friends, but you're a European. What do you use that flaxseed to? How do you eat flaxseed?
For baking sometimes.
Yes.
See, so it's for baking.
Sasa nimekumbuka.
Oh, boss, you had forgotten, eh?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Baking,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
Or
yeah.
you can put it in smoothies. A lot of people put it in their smoothies.
Okay,
To get healthy fats and more
Raw.
fiber. Yes,
Okay.
uncooked.
Okay.
But they must be ground. Your body cannot digest them if they're whole. They will end up in the toilet.
Okay.
And that means you got no nutrients from them. Do a test.
Okay.
So, ground flaxseed. Another thing you can do if you don't eat eggs is you can make a flax egg. So you take the ground flax, a tablespoon of it with 3 tablespoons of water, and you make an egg. And it gets that consistency, so that's how you can bake.
wow.
But then you're also getting those omega-3s.
Okay.
So that's another thing. Chia seeds, those are
heard of
another
those.
things. Yep. There's like people, again, pair them with flax seeds. They'll put them in their smoothies, yogurts, things like that.
This is for omega-3s, ne?
Omega-3s.
Okay. And what's omega-3 good for?
Omega-3 is reducing inflammation, good for your heart, good for your blood pressure.
This is critical for
It's
people
very
our age.
Cardiovascular health.
Okay,
Yes.
this is critical. Okay.
Brain, all these
okay,
things. It's
okay,
very, very essential.
okay,
So these
okay.
nutrients that I'm talking about are really essential. You
Pass,
can't go without
pass,
them.
pass.
Walnuts, I know they're very expensive in Kenya. So again, I'm telling you what the answer is.
Yeah.
Not all of them are going to be locally available.
Sure.
So that's what we have to think about. Is this diet reasonable for me? Can I afford these things?
That's important.
So you have to ask yourself these questions before choosing if it's a choice to be vegan or vegetarian. Yeah. Canola oil is an excellent source of omega-3s. Yeah. You can get almost your daily dose there. And then the other is going to be from supplements.
Very good.
I've seen pumpkin seeds under that category. Are they part of that?
Pumpkin seeds don't have omega-3s, but they have really good iron for vegans and vegetarians. Pumpkin seeds are the seed with the highest amount of iron.
Where am I getting calcium in all those that you've actually
Yep.
mentioned?
So this is only omega-3.
Omega-3.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Just omega-3. So
Okay.
then we'll get to that.
Okay, so Ash, speaking on behalf of my gents,
Yes.
okay, the easy one there is the canola oil.
Yes.
Okay.
And the most affordable and locally
Thank
available
you.
one.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, to get my omega-3,
Yes.
I can just use it to my spinach and I'm good to go.
So you need at least a tablespoon.
Okay.
That's going to get you 1,600 milligrams of omega-3.
Are we
And
goody?
you need about 2,000.
My guy.
So you're pretty close.
Okay.
You're
Daily.
pretty close.
You need that daily.
You need that daily. 2,000 milligrams of omega-3, and in 1 tablespoon of canola oil, you're getting 1,600.
Sharp.
Yeah. So then if you do flaxseed, you're sorted.
You're good to go.
Yeah. So I would say those are the most affordable options in Kenya.
Thank you. That's how I want you
Yes.
to break it down.
So that's how I'll break it down. Perfect.
right.
Good. Now, iron. That's going to be the next one. Very important, especially for children, if they're this. Women, especially, menstruating women, especially pregnant women, postpartum women. We need to be very, very mindful of this.
So that, iron in milk? No.
Iron, I'll tell you the sources.
Okay.
They're coming up. Yep. So just explaining the importance of iron.
Okay.
So beans, lentils, whole grains, so brown rice, whole wheat, millet, sorghum, quinoa.
Yeah.
I know it's not a local thing, but it's an excellent source.
Yeah.
So again, this is where you need to think, can I afford this sort of lifestyle if it's a choice?
Yeah.
And then nuts and seeds. So especially the pumpkin seeds that we talked about, those are very rich in iron. Now, vegetarian sources of iron, you don't absorb as much iron from them as you do from meat. The body readily absorbs more iron from meat as opposed to vegetarian sources. So we just have to be mindful that we need to eat more iron if it's coming from plant-based sources. And we need to help our body increase our body's ability to absorb the maximum amount of iron in that food. So what do?
Thank you.
Yeah. We combine that iron, like the pumpkin seeds, with vitamin C. Vitamin C increases the body's ability to absorb iron.
So is that orange juice?
Yeah. So any fruit, any vegetable. So if you're having beans, you put it with a tomato sauce. The tomatoes are rich in vitamin C.
I see.
You know how Kenyans...
Yeah.
How we make tomato sauce?
Yes. Tomato sauce. Or you cut tomatoes and put them in there. Then you're getting your vitamin C.
Because you're going to ask her ketchup has got chemicals.
I just stopped myself.
Yeah, no, ask her. Okay. Tell her, ask her, say ketchup has got chemicals.
Just because she mentioned, is that a healthy option, tomato sauce?
Tomato sauce, it depends which one you're getting. Is it just pure ground pureed tomatoes, or is it processed with added sugar and salt? So I'm talking about just the crushed tomatoes.
Tomato, okay,
yes.
good. Yeah,
literal tomatoes. You can make it at home. You can cut a tomato.
I knew that's what Ashley meant, but I was waiting for you to ask the question.
Everyone who's listening, she's like, tomato sauce.
Yeah. Oh, because Kenyans call it. Now I get it. Yes. No, I'm talking.
So maybe the tomato puree.
Yeah. Yes, tomato puree. Or like crushed tomatoes. Yes, exactly. Thank you for that. Forgot about that. So that's what we'd want to pair it with. The same with your lentils or having a fruit. So again, if you just follow my protocol of the balanced plate, you don't have to worry about these things because you're going to have your fruit, you're going to have your veg.
So Ash,
which is going to have vitamin C.
You said quinoa, but then the other things you mentioned, Mariam, because please, we are talking about those are the dumas and the. No?
What Dumas? No, where I'm talking about for iron-rich foods?
Yes.
Iron-rich foods are going to be beans, lentils, whole grains. So this is your brown rice, your whole wheat, your sorghum, your millet. Not carbs. I think that's how you got confused. Yes. Not the carbs. Okay. The whole grains, Okay. And the beans and lentils, nuts, and then seeds.
Right.
And always pairing them with a fruit or vegetable so we get that vitamin C to help our body increase that iron, maximizing that.
So just to be, when you say pair, let's be clear. So I can do this and then have the fruit salad after, yes?
Like together at the same meal.
Oh, yes.
Like eating it together, yes.
No, you need dessert.
They have to be on
the same plate.
I mean, if it's like within the same meal. Like I'm sitting here for 20 minutes and I'm including the fruit at the end. I choose to eat the fruit salad.
I'm being Mariam. I'm just being difficult.
No, it's a good question because people would be like, is that close enough to it? So it's a good question. Yes. So within that meal. Or within that eating occasion.
Yeah, because Mariam, I never told you that story. And when people, these people, when they go for weddings, put everything on that one plate, including the ice cream. Okay, sorry.
And the fruits. So how much iron do you need? Daily intake?
So it depends, women or men. So women need about 18 milligrams per day. And men need less than that. Oh, God, I'd have to figure out. I think they need 10 or 12.
In terms of beans, how much beans is that?
So you're not going to get it just with beans. No, you'll probably get like 25% of that amount from beans. So you see, you have to really work at this. So you have to be very mindful. So just knowing beans are a good source of iron doesn't mean I have beans one fistful a day, I'm sorted. No. We have to be mindful of these nutrients at every single meal.
I've not heard you mentioning any fruits. There are no fruits that
have iron. None.
Oh, really?
No fruits have iron. No. So there's a lot of misinformation. People say raisins or sultans, or they'll say beetroot has iron. No. They don't.
Excuse me, Ashley.
Yeah, beetroot
is beetroot a fruit?
Vegetable.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So so those things don't. But we hear a lot of these things on Google. So that's why it's really important to know. And maybe they have like 0.1 of a milligram, which is nothing. And then somebody's like, oh my God, it has iron. And it's like, no, I'm focusing on the richest sources because I want you to get the maximum nutrition when you're eating, when we're focusing on iron.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So zinc. That's something that can be hard to get. Again, this is very...
Sorry. The iron was good for?
The iron is good for oxygenating our blood and building our blood in a very simplistic way.
Yeah, okay.
More complex than that.
So, and
energy.
We're we're getting because of lifestyle.
Yeah.
A lot of us, especially, that age group is different. But, we're getting people having aneurysms, blood clots. Yes. So this is that iron is important.
No, when I think of blood clots, I think of they're having too much high cholesterol
right.
and high saturated fats.
Right.
Yep. So that's what we'd want to watch. And then to prevent blood clots and things and lower our cholesterol, we'd want to focus on fiber.
Right.
So a vegetarian or vegan diet is going to have a lot of fiber because of the plants that you're eating.
Right.
So that's very beneficial.
So to be clear, Ashley,
Yes.
and I'm sorry, I hope this is not pivoting, no?
No, it's okay.
Or digressing. So because that cholesterol thing is a problem.
Yes, it is.
So to control it better, then should we now lean towards a veggie diet?
So I would say include more plants.
Sharp.
You don't have to be, quote unquote, a type of vegetarian or
Sharp.
a vegan.
Very good.
You can do what I do personally. So I like to share that is I still say I eat a plant-based diet because I have 75% of my plate that is 1/4 is whole grains, 1/4 is fruit, 1/4 is veg, and I do have meat. Yeah. But if cholesterol is an issue, I'm going to make sure that my meat is lean. Hakuna mafuta.
Bas.
And I'm not going to fry it. I'm going to bake it. I'm going to saute it. You see, and I'm going to have lean meat. I'm going to take the skin off my chicken. I'm going to cut the fat off the beef. I'm going to cut it off the pork. I'm going to try to have more fish because that doesn't have any of that saturated fat. So that's what I'm going to focus on. So low saturated fat and more fiber, because fiber, what that does, it's found in our fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. It attaches to the cholesterol in our body, and you literally poop it out.
And it's useless.
So it's very helpful in reducing cholesterol.
Yes,
Because then it's in the toilet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good one.
Just repeat that last part.
Yeah. So fiber, what fiber does, it's found in plants, so fruits, vegetables, and whole grains.
It attaches
to cholesterol, and you poop it out, and it pulls that cholesterol out of your body with you. So that's why fiber is very important if you have high cholesterol, and then reducing your saturated fat, because saturated fat adds to your cholesterol level.
Now, what is saturated fat? That is that Kimbo.
Yes.
Very good.
As one example.
And what is what are the high cholesterol foods?
Yeah, high cholesterol foods. So it's going to be saturated fat. So it's going to be fatty meats. It's going to be fatty dairy products. It's going to be coconut oil. It's going to be butter. It's going to be ghee. It's going to be anything solid at room temperature.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Yes. Yeah. So
now,
solid
Ashley, now, what is high in fiber?
High in fiber, all your fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. There you go. Sorted.
You heard? Kwanza hiyo ndio clip hapo. Sorry, you had iron.
Yes. So we're done with iron now. So zinc. So this is very important for our immune system. So when people get sick, they always focus on vitamin C, which is great, but they miss the zinc. You have to do vitamin C and zinc to support the immune system. Yeah. So sources are going to be, again, beans, lentils, also soy products. So like tofu and soy milk.
Come on now.
Sorry. But nuts, actually, and whole grains, those are also going to have zinc as well.
Okay, so Ash, because now zinc is critical. One of our fans, and the way that hi Kina Elvis, these guys, they always sound like they're sitting around in a group, in a congregation. In fact, I picture them in a barber shop.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, and that guy, and then Kisumu. You been to Kisumu?
I haven't. Luoland, correct?
Hey, boss, guys. Yeah, you're not working hard enough. Yes, invite her. And her husband's a chef, so he'll whip up the dish as we're talking about these. How are guys? Because remove soy.
Yeah.
Remove soy.
Why? Because you're a guy. You think it's bad for you.
Remove the soy.
Why?
Now, this guy. I want you to picture a guy who's sitting now in the village. So it's hard to find.
In Ushago. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So then that's where we need to say, buddy, is this a good choice for you? Does this make sense for you or not? Because here's the facts. You've now been empowered with the information.
Yes.
Does this make sense for you personally?
Okay.
You see.
So Ash, like I said, Madame is soy milk. Yeah. And can I just do the milk?
Regular milk?
No, soy milk.
To get enough zinc.
Yeah.
You'd have to do several servings of it, and again, we don't just want to focus, we want the variety, remember? Because
I think
we just
the
do...
way I ask Ashley questions, I piss off sometimes,
Just do soy milk. Then you're missing out. And are you going to enjoy drinking 3 cups of soy milk? Man, don't you want some nuts?
Yes.
Don't you want some whole grains? Get some variety. Don't be boring. Don't be bland. But so this is, again, why people need to make a conscious decision. If this isn't being pushed on them, or it's not important to them because of culture or religion or things like that, you need to be mindful. Is this reasonable for me? Is this affordable for me? Right. Is this healthier for me? Is this a good fit for me? It's really an individual decision.
What are some of the health conditions associated with lack of zinc? Yeah.
Immunity, man.
Lack of zinc. Gosh, it's not, I don't know if I have a name for a condition. I'm sure there is one, but it's going to be stunted growth. It's going to be people that don't grow to their correct height. Yes. It's going to be lack of growth of their sexual organs and development.
Yes. Really?
Yes. And it's also going to be suppressed immune system.
So for grown-ups, basically, you get sick easier.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I meant to ask you this. Now, speaking of nuts, because you always mention nuts.
Nuts, yes.
Now, like peanuts.
Yep. Macadamia.
Cashew nuts, macadamia.
Those are local.
Are they all in the same WhatsApp group, or some are better than others?
So some are better than others, but variety is always key.
Yes.
So if you were to ask me, Ashley, out of those, which one would you ask me to eat more of? Yes. I would say macadamia. Damn. Because it has more of the unsaturated fat. It's actually the same type of healthy fat found in avocados and extra virgin olive oil.
Right.
So extra virgin olive oil in this country is expensive.
Tana.
So then have your avocado and your macadamia nuts sorted.
And then
it's also vegan and vegetarian.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yes.
See? So now we're...
Okay.
And it's local.
And it is.
Perfect.
And then cashews. And then where would you rank them? Cashews and peanuts next?
So cashews...
Those aren't fair questions, Ash.
No. All questions are fair game because you're So cashews have the most saturated fat out of any nut.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's why I'm hesitant. But it doesn't mean you can't have them. I have cashews, but just think I'm not just going to load up on cashews because people get this idea. I heard Ashley say nuts are good. Yes. I'm just going to eat the whole bag of cashews in one sitting.
I won't show you the kg of cashews.
Right see? You got to be mindful of portions. Right. So this is where people can still be unhealthy even if they're eating plant-based, things like that.
Okay.
So that's the thing with the cashews.
Right.
Now the peanuts, they have omega-6s, which are healthy fats, but we tend to get too many omega-6s. And the thing is that omega-6s and omega-3s, you've heard me talk about these fats. They're both healthy. They're both necessary. But there's a few foods that have omega-3s, and there's a lot of foods that have omega-6s. So we get a very high amount of omega-6s and a very low amount of omega-3s. That imbalance creates inflammation in our body. We don't want that. Yeah.
Yes.
So again... Yes, they're healthy, but everything in moderation and variety is key. So have the cashews, have the peanuts, have the macadamia, have the avocado, because you're getting all your different types of healthy fats.
Right. And a quick one. Mariam, and also you, 2 quick ones. I had to ask you this also, Ash, because we also had this debate.
Yes.
There's roasted peanuts, fried peanuts, salted peanuts, and all of these
different varieties and flavors and things like that.
So does it matter if it's some say the skin is good?
Not necessarily, because it's not a lot. So it's not like the thing you would be thinking of is fiber, but it's so little that you're not going to get a lot of fiber from that.
So if I fry my macadamia in reference, in context of what we talk about today, my macadamia nuts in canola oil, I'm good to go.
So I would not recommend that. Because it's too...
Ashley always busted a bubble.
Sorry. The idea is great because you're thinking about healthy fats. So good job.
Yes.
However, that's too many sources of fat because you're already getting healthy fats in the macadamia. Why are you adding more fats? It's unnecessary. So now we're overdoing on the fats, right? So have your roasted macadamia. Enjoy. If you want a little sawa, but be mindful. Again, everything in moderation, proper portion.
Indeed.
Yes. Good questions.
Okay. Sorry, Ash. So you were there on the zinc.
Yeah. So then the sources are going to be the soy, the beans, the legumes, the nuts. So you're going to see a lot of these are the same sources. Yeah. And then, vitamin D, to be honest with you, the only way to get vitamin D is in fortified, is where they actually add vitamin D to the products. They add vitamin D to cow's milk. They add vitamin D to yogurt. They add it to orange juice. That's what they do like in the US, actually. Here in Kenya, they don't. I also believe in the UK, they don't. So we need to know we're never going to get vitamin D from food. So we need to know that we need to get it from a supplement. And please have your vitamin D levels checked because I guarantee you're low. Everyone listening.
Wow. And the sun?
Guaranteed. Yes. So you can get it from the sun, but if you wear sunscreen, you cannot get it. Because sunscreen blocks those rays, and those rays are also what give you vitamin D. So then there's this issue. Do I want to protect myself from skin cancer and wear sunscreen, or do I want the vitamin D? Where's the balance? What does my doctor recommend? So there you go. Most people don't realize that. So that's why I always just say the supplement, because most people are trying to be aware of sunscreen. And staying out of the sun, or, things like that.
What is vitamin D good for?
Bones, teeth. And also they're linking vitamin D to immunity, to reducing risk factors for diabetes, for chronic disease. I mean, vitamin D can be linked to so much. Energy is a huge thing, actually. So again, many people are very deficient in vitamin D, including on this continent.
No, you're very right, because I've got tabs for vitamin D.
See? Good. I'm proud of you.
Yes,
excellent.
yes.
And then when you're
out of supplements, huh?
Yeah, no. Just those tabs, by the way.
Only
the
for
vitamin D.
Yeah, but we want to go to get supplements, for the skin. Honey, for the skin.
Oh my God, I know.
Listen, Ash, and finally, look, generally, are supplements necessary, or they're just a shortcut? And I want you, listen, like I said,
I'm honest.
Yeah, you usually are. You're very diplomatic in your speak, but I want you to be brutal, man.
Yeah. So it's honestly, it's very individual.
Yeah.
I can't make a blanket statement about this.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I would say if you are vegan, it's very likely you need to supplement.
Yes.
It's very, very likely you need to supplement if you're vegan. If you're vegetarian, maybe not so much. Yeah, but again, people who are even eat meat and don't have any exclusions, they also may need to supplement, because those people also can get low iron levels and things. Because again, you have to be very mindful about what you're eating, how much, how often. Because if you're eating the same thing over and over again, then you're not getting all those nutrients we talked about. So anybody's at risk. But vegans, yes, they are more at risk for vitamin and nutrient deficiencies. That's a fact.
Are there any health benefits associated with being a vegan or vegetarian?
Yes. So there's less inflammation, because they're getting a lot of antioxidants, basically those plant nutrients, because they're eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, whole grains. They're definitely eating way more of those things. They have better gut health because of all the fiber. They have lower cholesterol levels. They have lower risks for chronic disease like heart disease, diabetes. They tend usually to be a healthier weight when compared to people that eat other foods and include other varieties. But however, it depends on how the actual individual is eating and consuming. But yes, that's what statistics will show you. But that's not to say that you can't be just as healthy by consuming meat. Because then I would say, what are your cuts of meat? How often are you having it? What are your portions? And are you still eating plants?
Thank you very much, man. And with that lesson today, vegetarian, vegan or not, Ashley Kiboda, thank you so much. See you next week.
Thank you for having me.